I remember when I hit my first 1,000 followers, I was like, they see me rolling.
You know what I remember? You know what I remember doing back in the day?
Giveaways?
No. When I hit 1,000 followers, you'd put up on your story, oh, thank you so much for the 1,000.
Thank you so much for the 1,000 followers. Yeah. Bro, I was an idiot. I was an idiot. I'd be like 100 followers, 500 followers, 1,000 followers, 1,500.
Thank you so much for following.
Every single
Love
time.
you, everyone.
Love you so much. Thanking you for all your support, man. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cameramen Show. My name's Karthik.
I'm Manav.
And in this episode, we talk all things weddings, cameras, and business. I've got a question to ask you.
I'm surprised you didn't say, today's an interesting episode.
No, I got a question to ask you. How many followers do you think you have on Instagram? On your backdrop page, obviously. Not your
I think around 7,000 or something.
We're probably going to have a pop-up right now just to, Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 7,000.
What about you?
About 16,000.
Yeah.
And not that I've ever started an episode so strongly. Well, I think I probably have. But anyways, how much of that do you think helps you? Just one sentence, one-liner in your current business. Is it, is it a big part of your business? Is it I
don't know. I feel like this is one of those things that you can't really ever tell.
You can't quantify or justify.
You can't really have a straight answer. Does having a larger following matter or not? I'm sure there's like a lot of positives to it. Well, what we're going to talk about in this episode, but then at the same time, there's a lot of things that like it doesn't really matter, right? But I feel like
how much has it helped you? Just answer me.
If you're just going off feelings, I would say it probably has helped me up to a certain extent because obviously the way I look at it is like having larger Instagram followers means whatever posts you're sharing is going out to more people, first of all, right? And anyone who's new coming to the page, and if they see that there's a lot of people following your page, and like it gives them a little bit more credibility type.
We'll get into the points in a bit, but just answer it.
I would say it's helped.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's interesting to note here is from statistically, like stats and whatnot, I have a higher following count of the two of us. But I can sure as shit say you shoot more weddings than me. In terms of inquiries that come through, obviously you reject a lot. And the only reason for that, or one of the main reasons, or several reasons, is because you also do videos.
Yeah.
Also, quality in work is subjective. Everyone's got their preference, but because you also open yourself up to videos.
Yeah.
Now, one could argue...
So you do photos only?
I just do photos
I do photos and videos both. Yeah.
But I have a higher following.
Yeah.
Yet, do I get more leads and bookings and all that? No, not really. But it's an interesting topic. And with that, as always, Manav and I have brought out our infamous list that you guys can't see, but we can. And we're going to break down the pros and cons of what we believe if an Instagram, specifically Instagram, let's not go too much into TikTok.
Yeah.
Whether an
I
Instagram...
got way more TikTok followers than you.
Oh, you go fuck yourself. 60-something thousand, all right? Here I've got like 5,000 or whatever. It's weird because the reaches and all of that shit is like so different on TikTok.
TikTok is so random, man.
Yeah,
like you put something on there and you think, oh, this is so good, and it just goes nowhere.
Yeah,
and then you put like something else, which is like, I might as well just upload this, and next minute, like,
fucking blows up. Yeah. It's weird, but let's just talk. We'll center this entire episode around Instagram because I don't know what the user.
I think Instagram is the main one where
a lot
everyone
of
goes
that.
to.
Yeah, because I know when I can talk to people, I'm like, hey, you got TikTok? They go, nah.
Yeah, and not even a lot of users have. It's more. I would say Instagram is the one that all the brides and grooms would go to look at the work. I don't think they'd go to TikTok as much. Like maybe TikTok is the way I use my TikTok is mine's more of like all the BTS and like stuff that I don't really put on Instagram. That goes on my TikTok. Yep. And all my main photos and everything that I'm going to share is going to be like going on. Like when you're going to share your portfolio, where people look at your feed, what you've done. That's on Instagram. Yeah.
So to kick things off with the pros list first, we'll go through all the good reasons for whether they do matter, and in this case, I guess the pros do. The first thing, for one word to sum everything up, is conversion. And the way I like to explain it is my infamous 1% rule. You need to assume that 1% of your entire audience will eventually convert. It's a very weird rule that I have. There's no stats to that, no logic to that.
By convert, you mean a lead? A lead
to actual business, because you can get leads. We all get leads.
I feel like 1% of would be leads. Like
1% from leads out of your 100. Let's just assume 100% is your following.
Yeah,
leads, you might get 10% of that come through. But is every 10% a conversion?
Yeah, fair enough.
So 1% rule. So you have 100,000 followers. Assume 1% of that audience will potentially convert to business. Now, why do I say this? Because if we're going off just that theory alone, having a high follower count would then translate to more leads, which would then translate into more business. For simple math.
Simple is just you more visible.
If I just dumb this down, you start a new Instagram page, you've uploaded 100 photos from work that you've already done, and your following is 0, your followers are 0, and you've got 100 posts.
Hopefully not, kind of like the YouTube that we just started, right? But hopefully by the time this episode comes out, we've got a few more. A little bit more.
If you haven't followed this,
right now we're in like famine mode where we're like, please follow us,
please. So if you have 100 posts, good posts, good photos, you got no followers, I can guarantee you ain't converting any business.
Yeah.
And we're not including things like you're already on Instagram and YouTube. We're just assuming, you're not on a website and YouTube or whatever. We're just going purely of Instagram. But if you have a high following, there's a higher chance for conversion. Agreed?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think it also instills like a trust and credibility into you as a business. Like, which is what I was saying before, is that if a bride comes to your page or a groom comes to your Instagram page and they look that you have like 20,000 followers following you, you're posting regularly, you're getting a lot of likes and comments on your work, right? All that sums up to me as a couple is like number one, these guys have been around for a long time. Yeah. Number two, if I book them, there's a very high chance someone will actually rock up on the wedding day. Right?
Yeah, yep.
And number three is like, I mean, once again, it's all about just trust. Like, I feel like if you, and I'm sure couples book people that don't have much following all the time, but I'm just saying like in terms of like ratios here, right?
Yeah, I mean,
so if you go to an Instagram page, they got like 20 followers, right? And they barely post here and there, not really putting much effort into the social side of things. Generally, you're going to be like, oh, okay, these guys are not very serious about
I think you're right. I think with the ability to have, say, a business that's a photography page on Instagram, having maybe upwards of several thousand to 10,000s, even more, you're in a better position to go, there's consistency in work. There's trust here, because I know couples who have used them through mutual friends, or I've seen, obviously, evidential photos and whatnot. There is a level of skill and experience that you see time and time again from the same brand over a period of, however many years. So you're automatically going with the social proof of however many XYZ followers. It helps to keep my mind at ease knowing that I'm in good hands. And that potentially would also help with conversion. Like someone goes, oh, well, I don't ever have to worry about these people being shit, because if 16,000 people have followed this brand or however many,
and you're seeing all the photos that you're putting up and stuff,
you would assume
that you have past clients.
Correct. You would assume that this person is reliable and trustworthy, and it helps to go, well, if I know someone's got, say, 100 followers, it doesn't give me the vote of confidence fully just yet. Now, unless their work speaks volumes, but then why doesn't the number represent that? That's a separate topic in its own. I still think overall, though, like, you can look at someone's page, look at their following immediately, and this is more of a subconscious psychological response. You're probably going, okay, I see it. They're good, they're trustworthy, they're reliable, they're credible, they're skilled, they're experienced, and they probably have segments on their Instagram page, by the way. They have reviews, testimonials, all those evidential like posts that help build a narrative that this brand and business is good. And
mind you, this is not only couples, but it allows you to collaborate. It allows you to collaborate with people that would never collaborate with you.
So say you're a photographer and you've got an Instagram page of 10,000 followers. Yeah. So you're saying to me that like you have a better scope to network with other people. Because,
I would say so, right?
Yeah, right.
Like I mean, you collaborate way more than I do, right?
Yep,
and I feel like people, like, you're more likely to get more collaborations.
Yeah, because I remember when I went to London, I was like, oh, bro, collaboration nation, let's freaking go, because no one knows who the F I was. I was reaching out to every influencer possible, even with the following, by the way. Yeah. And then,
mind you, this is not even influencers. I'm talking more about brands.
Brands as well. Like,
now, obviously,
sorry.
Right? Now
that's one aspect of it. Like
that's
influencers,
one aspect,
but like brands.
Yeah. Like a brand would much rather collaborate with someone who's got like 100,000 followers on Instagram, because now everyone like let's say a photography brand, Canon. Godox or whatever, right? Canon. Now Canon's going to collaborate with you if you've got higher following. maybe not so much as following, but just consistency. Like you need to show consistency as well. But at the same time, I think following definitely helps.
For sure.
As much as someone might say, "Oh, it doesn't help."
So to bring that into a specific labeled point, it just opens you up for networking and collaborative opportunities. If you have a high following count, is that what you kind of like?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I agree with you, and I think your ability to reach out with influential power also helps, because if I'm a 100-person follower and I'm reaching out to someone who's a model or a couple saying, I'd love to take you guys up for a free photo shoot, they may not take you seriously. And that, bro, I'm doing that right now because I've got a separate brand page on the side where I'm trying to build that up for a particular audience in a particular niche. And it's hard because it's not easy for me to convert because it's a smaller business, or, well, I guess on the scale of numbers. But the numbers actually do help in conversion.
And I could say one thing is, if you have higher number of people following you, I would say that also means you don't need to run Instagram ads anymore. Right?
Yep.
It kind of brings your advertising budget a little bit down, because if you're a small page, now one thing, I think we talked about this in another episode as well, about doing Instagram ads and everything, right?
Yep.
So if you, for example, you're on like 16, 17, whatever you're on, you don't need to run Instagram ads now versus what you needed to do when you had like 500 followers.
True.
Because only like a certain number of people would see your work, right?
Yeah, true.
Now that you have like a big audience that already sees your work when you put it up there, and I'm gonna know this is like more algorithm specific. Sometimes the algorithm just doesn't push out or whatever, right? It is, but just if you're looking by the general overall scope of this, is that you definitely spend way less on Instagram ads now than what you did before.
Well, to be honest, I'm actually not running any at the moment, but I know brands who are far higher following than me then do it. And again, to each their own with their own strategy. But you're right, because at this point, let's just assume you've got 100,000 followers, right? If you say wanted to launch a new service within your brand as a wedding photographer, saying I now do newborn photography, because you have a passion in that and you want to get into it, I can guarantee you can post a story up with a brand new Instagram page that you just created, and it's going to direct, again, the 1% rule, so 1,000 people at least to your audience, to that next page, because you've got a high following count. They already know the brand, they trust the brand, they see the numbers there, so it could potentially work out. The part that I wanted to add on to that is higher perceived value. So what I mean by this is there are brands that I personally look up to, and businesses on Instagram, where I look at and go, not only is their quality great, right? Their work is genuinely amazing. And bear in mind, albeit this is a subjective field, so what I like, you may not like, and that's fine. But what I think it leads to is this perceptive value of this premium vibe. I've said this before, where there are photography brands in different countries around the world that are almost celebrity photographers, right? And they have a high following, therefore it leads to a higher perceived value. And maybe you don't care about that. Maybe numbers are not like, the all be all and end all, and that's fine. Like, okay, cool. But to some people, it is. To some couples, it's even a status and a flex.
I think it depends on the type of couples you want to attract, right? Like some couples will literally look at your Instagram and be like, oh, these guys have a lot of following. I want to put my wedding on their page because more eyes are going to see it. And a lot of couples obviously like care about their wedding content is part of their content creation, because they're like, influencers and all that, right? So now if an influencer is putting it on your page that's got 100,000, there's way more chances of that going viral and whatnot, right?
Yep.
So so I think in that regards, which is what your point was, which is like high perceived value, definitely I think that's the case in some instances.
And it might even bring in a level of clientele. Yeah. So you might have, say,
like celebrity weddings, right?
Work. Yeah. You think a celebrity going to go with someone, who's got perhaps 5,000?
I mean, I'm sure some have.
Maybe they have. And I'd love to be challenged on this. Photographers, I know there's going to be someone listening to be like, go fuck yourself, I only have 5,000 followers, but that's I'm happy for you. Challenge me. I encourage you. But let me know if you found that, no, I'm a photographer and I don't have that much of a following, but I did this high-end freaking amazing budget client experience because these guys saw my skill. Maybe the numbers didn't represent that, and that's fine. Maybe that is the case.
And mind you, some celebrities, obviously, it's like all human beings are different, right? So some celebrities are gonna look at your work. You could have amazing work. For some reason, because you haven't marketed yourself in a certain way, whatever, you don't have a large Instagram following, right? Yeah. They're going to look at your work and be like, oh, this really makes me resonate with what you're doing, right? And they will book you, right? But I'm saying like there is a large portion of people out there who will literally look at your Instagram following and be like, yeah, I'm going to get them to shoot my wedding.
Like just off numbers, you could convert.
Yeah.
Like first instant glance, oh, yep, good. I'm ready to go.
Keeping all other things static.
like just relatively neutral.
Forget about all other things.
Everything else,
If you keep everything else static, you have more higher chance of getting a high-end client if you have more followers on Instagram versus less.
I think, and this is kind of...
And by high-end, I mean more like celebrities and people that are going to like get married in, the most expensive palace in freaking, whatever. Yeah.
So, controversial question. How do you feel about when people buy followers?
And that's the thing a lot of people can do now.
A lot of people can do that.
And I don't know if everyone realizes this, but like a lot of these big pages that have like 100, 200,000 followers, in reality, they probably only have like 2,000 followers.
I personally think it's a bit of a cop-out, but I must caveat that by saying if they go off the points that we've just talked about it converting, then maybe they have to. Maybe they have to do it.
It's weird because you can kind of tell.
Oh, bro, it's so weird.
Like imagine someone who has like 200,000 or 100,000 followers. They post a photo, and you get like 10 likes on it. It's weird. Or like you get like 50 likes.
And I know some influential people, especially in the UK, who do this shit. That I'm thinking, bruh, like, what are you doing?
Once again, I think what they're doing is they're like, oh, couples don't really know, which is probably true to a certain case. Couples don't really know if, like, imagine like you're a couple and you have no concept of fake followers, right? You come onto an Instagram and you just look at it and you see 100,000, right? Half the time, and plus nowadays where you can even hide how many people have liked your photo, right?
Yeah,
you can all that kind of stuff. No one's gonna like go into each photo, scroll all the way and see, estimate how many people have liked it and stuff, right? So,
it's weird because part of me goes, if I'm someone that I just want to get noticed quickly, I'd resort to it. I'm not saying I would. People would do that, and I can see why they would do that because it's an easy step. You just buy it. You're all good to go, and you set up. The other part I'm torn is that like you didn't earn that. It's an easy fix. You're not genuine. You're lying also, and it means that you're complacent. You're complacent because you don't want to do the things organically to grow. You don't want to build the brand organically to put out a message that, hey, I'm here to stay and
be different
or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part where I'm not really happy with. Like I know a lot of people sometimes do it, and they're not just photographers. These are influencers. These are random brands as well, like who just buy followers. And again, like you do you, boo. But I'ma just go, okay, cool. That to me isn't genuine. I'd much rather earn the numbers and earn the respect and earn the awareness rather than buying it to put out an image of going, hey, like this for me is actually something that I can just quickly do and buy it online. I think it does give a message. What that message though is I think subjective, because if I'm a business owner, look, it's weird. I do this as a photographer, but like I look at someone's work and there's a subconscious part of me that goes, is this photo, is this content, does it look like it represents 100,000 followers? And I go down the rabbit hole so quickly because on, I think website, I think it is on desktop version of Instagram, when you just hover your mouse over, and I'm pretty sure this is still the case, you hover your mouse over a photo, you can see how many likes it is. You mean to tell me 500 likes from a photo that you got where you posted and you've got 100,000 followers? Not even 550 likes? Go fuck yourself, bro. Like that doesn't make sense. But the thing is,
I feel like you can buy likes. You can buy everything now.
Oh yeah, true.
So some people like I'm assuming people that are gonna buy
everything's fake. Everything's fake.
But I'm assuming if you're gonna go out of your way to buy 100,000 followers, surely you're gonna be like, I'm gonna buy like 1,000 or 2,000 likes on my photo as well.
Yeah, that is true. And it's
which
weird
once again now you're going further down the rabbit hole, because there's a lot of there's a lot of pointers which you can kind of come across, which would give you like indication of a page is having.
It's weird. You're right. I just remember this because I'll never drop names here, but I remember there's this person in the UK who has your 100,000 something for like 60 something, or maybe 80, 90,000. I can't remember. And they've posted a photo of a piece of content. They're not a photographer, by the way. They're something else. They're not wedding photographers. And then they've gone, I've looked at that, and by the end of the day, 50 likes. Like we're talking about nearly 100,000 followers, 50 likes. Okay, something's fucked up there. I'll come back to that piece of content the next day, like a couple of hours later, 8,000 likes. Bruh, like why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
But and once again, as going back to the point, couples are really not going to know. I think that's why people do this, because you're like, which couple is first of all even just sitting there and going like, oh, this one had 50 likes, now has 8,000 likes, right? Most of the time they're going to come, they're just going to see like a big.
True. Yeah. Like you can assume that some couples aren't going to know, but there are some couples who pay attention. There are some couples who know this shit.
Yeah.
You know what's even worse? This also happened with a wedding photographer who bought followers, but they're an ambassador and they're an award-winning photographer.
Oh shit! Okay,
that bothers me more because now you're going.
Is that like a pressure now?
Yeah.
Do you think that's because they feel pressured that I'm an ambassador, so I have to have more followers than everyone else?
Because bro, I'll never drop names here. That's fine. But 1 + 1 = 2, not 17. So why the F is someone going, hey, like, okay, I'm a Canon ambassador. Okay, I've just posted a photo. I need to boost this. Let's just get like fake numbers here. Like it's worse because you should have already had been at that point. Like you should have had the likes and all of that stuff come through.
But surely if we know this is happening, like as if Canon or Sony won't know this is happening, right? Like
Canon and Sony are an entity.
Yeah, this is like a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah, but one person is responsible for who makes it through. Yeah. That person is an idiot.
Yeah.
Like if they can't detect this, you got to do your research, bruh. And that's the part that I'm like, there are like photographers who would just go purely on ego and status. And they're like, oh, like, you know, I gotta buy the numbers, which is why, and I think there's another part of this as well that's kind of an off-branch topic here. Blue tick verified. Blue tick verified. Now
anyone can do it if you just pay.
Anyone can do it.
Right, yeah.
And first of all, what are your thoughts on blue tick verified?
I mean, I don't care.
I don't think I've ever asked you.
I don't really care what, like for myself. Yeah. I've not done that for myself.
Right. And also to add on to that, I don't care. Yeah. But again, we talked about this before in another podcast episode about award-winning photographers and whatnot, and you know the status and ego complexes that it comes with. In order for some photographers to go, oh, like I'm blue tick verified, I'm big shit now. Like they just do it. You can buy it, and it makes them feel that we're legit, we're amazing. I think Instagram and I'm pretty sure this was the case, they let into that openly because they wanted people to not be scammed. There's a lot of scam, like fake bots and shit, which is why they go, okay, let's open this up to everyone, and whoever wants to pay for the blue tick can now get it. But it also diminishes the value of the blue tick because obviously back then only celebrities could, or like influential people who had done a fair bit could. Now anyone basically can.
Now I feel like we've kind of started talking more about the cons of this because we started off with the pros, right? So now I'm going to continue with another con, which is added pressure.
Okay, like, so you have to keep going.
Now, as a photographer, think about it. Like, you have a lot of followers, right? Now you have the added pressure of posting consistently because obviously you've gotten there by posting a lot, right? And obviously this could come down to you could hire a person in your business to just do your socials or whatever, which will raise your costs overall, whatever it is, right? But now you have like an added pressure to stay on top because you're on top, right? And that's not you
don't want to drop your status or an image in front of other people because you're like, oh, I've built the business here. Yeah, this has got the numbers that I've got. Now I need to maintain.
And now this obviously we can go into like a much more deeper rabbit hole about like this can bring stress to you. This can affect your family because you're constantly just too much thinking about the business all the time. You're not paying enough attention to a family or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But having the pressure of like a lot of followers and then constantly feeding those followers to get more followers because like it's a never-ending thing.
It's a very bad cycle. It's a very bad cycle, and I think you need to be a bit mindful of going. It's okay to not be that front of mind all the time. Just because you built something up to be so high, you don't have to go hard. You don't have to go, oh, my followers are going to... No. Like, you've built the business. There's credibility there unless you bought it. You've built the business. As you can tell, I'm still triggered. You've built the business. There's credibility there. It's okay if you take the foot off the pedal and not constantly post. But do I get called out on it? Sometimes. I've had literally photographers go, hey, can you like post more because you haven't posted in a while? I was like, oh, fuck. I've had couples go, hey, like, are you still... Like, I'm saying all the time, but they'll be like, hey, do you have like any content that we'd like to see? You haven't posted in a while, you know, just...
That's definitely something that I wish I did more often is post on my business page because I feel like with me, like and this is probably like true for a lot of photographers, is like you have like seasonal, like how busy you are in a season, right? So some months off, and I do all my social media like myself for my business. So like I don't have like a second person who can just sit there and post for me, right?
Yeah, gotcha.
And obviously there's some months which I'm just like literally shooting every other day, or I'm out all the time, or if I'm not shooting, I'm doing admin. And mind you, like people don't know, like we do everything for a business. I'm doing my own accounting. Like I do have an accountant, but like I gotta like go do all that, and then I gotta do all the admin on top. I gotta like
you wear multiple hats in your business as a wedding photographer,
and like just because I'm not shooting on a Saturday doesn't mean I have time to sit there and like post stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously like with me, like I'll have like a month where I have a month off. Then you just see me go crazy on Instagram posting the month, and then you don't see me post for like another month after,
it's
right?
It's weird because I
which
agree
is probably not the best thing to do,
probably
right?
Not.
Probably not the best thing to do. I don't recommend it, and obviously like I'm doing this now because I feel like I've already built the brand that I want to build. I'm getting constant
It's
leads
interesting
and everything.
because I relate to that. Like I'm going, I've got a decent following now. And this is where, perfectionism is also a mask for an insecurity because you also want to keep releasing the same type of content at a standard. For me, it's like because I hold that standard to such a high regard, I don't want to post for the sake of posting it. But now it's the extreme opposite. I'm now taking a big stance off because I'm like, up until it's good, only good, then I'm going to post. And it's because I've built the brand, I built the business, I built the value behind it. I want to maintain that quality. But because I'm so afraid of disrupting that quality to lower that standard, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm just going to back off a little bit and strategically, do all of those things. The other point where I think, we started off with on the pro is just, like it helps with conversion, and now it's the lack of. So the opposite. Like the reasons to why having an Instagram following count matter, your numbers matter, is because it will impact your conversion. It will, if you don't have enough, it may just not mean that you're not in front of many people's eyes. I really, there was something that I got taught once that I really loved, which was you might be an amazing photographer, but you could be a shit business person. I can guarantee you,
goes hand in hand, bro. If you want to be like successful, you have to be a good business person and a good photographer at the same time.
I keep telling you all the time, and obviously not now because you've built the business, but I've seen you show me stuff and I'm like, fuck, that's dope. You got to post that shit because it's obviously going to help, right? And you're like, yeah, I will. Obviously it doesn't happen because, we're busy and stuff. But when you're starting out and you're very particular with quality, fair enough, it doesn't help your situation because you need to get your shit just out in front of the audience. You have to put it there. And I think the part where, a lot of people often fail to realize is you can be a great photographer, but you have to also be a great business person, which means you have to be on top of your socials, which means you have to post consistently. And if you're not, especially when you're starting out, that would reflect in numbers, that would reflect in awareness, and that would also reflect in a lack of conversion. Yeah. You with me on that one?
Yeah. And I think also if you have like a lower follower count, which means that potentially you're starting out, which is why you have a lower. Now, another con of this is, I think we discussed this at another podcast, is you got to shoot for free.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Which means like you got to collaborate a lot.
And I know there are a few photographers whose nerves and eyes are twitching right now because they hate that shit. But I agree with you because you don't have the world of leverage. And what I mean by that is you don't have the privilege of being at a spot where leads are coming to you 3-4 times a day. You don't. Because at the start, your lack of numbers might be a lack of a brand awareness, which will lead to a lack of conversion. I'm sure there are photographers who have maybe 1,500 followers who go, well, I'm a full-time business owner. I can run this shit.
And that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But most people that I know of sometimes don't have that same opportunity. I know I didn't.
Especially if you're switching to be a wedding photographer from another career, right? And you're like not, and like obviously we started this when we were like in our early 20s, right?
Correct.
Now imagine like if you're 30, 35, you have a mortgage, right? And you're switching from like either you lost your job, you've been made redundant. Now you want to start out here, and you're like, wait, what? I gotta go and shoot for free now? Like, how the fuck do I pay my bills? Right?
Yeah. It's hard because again, we talked about this before, but context has to be relevant and important here. Like again, that's a separate topic. But in the matter of going, like, I just started an Instagram page. You've got a couple of photos up. You've maybe got less than 100 followers because only the immediate family and friends follow you first. You're not going to get the awareness that you need. You're like putting out a message in front of zero audience is not going to get anyone to buy your product or service. That's just how business literally works.
You have to shoot for free.
Yep.
You have to collaborate. You have to build. You have to keep posting.
Yep.
that's the only way to grab more numbers.
Tying in with that, a lack of audience also means that it's going to be difficult for you to also collaborate, because sometimes some people only want to collaborate with other. Bro, this is why like freaking multi-billion-dollar brands collaborate with other multi-billion-dollar brands. Who the F would like everyday plebs to not offer value like that? Like they won't ever consider them unless you're. It's like how Gucci only literally has celebrities as their models, all right, or like potentially more influencers if anything. Like or Calvin Klein have actors and actresses, all right. You think they're going to collaborate with someone who is like, I don't know, 100% following? No,
yeah, of course,
no, absolutely not. So I think that's the part where.
So basically, you have limited opportunities,
correct,
in terms of collaboration,
correct,
right? Yeah.
You're just limited by your lack of reach, and some brands and some businesses are big on that in order for them to work with you.
And which brings me back to the other point when we were talking about the pros of having more followers, that you don't have to spend money on Instagram ads, right? Which is because you already have so many people. Now, the con is if you don't have followers, you got to spend a lot of money on Instagram, Instagram, Facebook,
because if
whatever
you aren't
ads,
doing content every day, if you aren't posting like
but
several
even
times
if
a
you
week,
are posting every day, like what sometimes the
reach isn't there.
The reach isn't there. Like the algorithm, like you're literally relying on the algorithm, right?
We're posting literally daily on the Cameramen show.
Yeah,
shameless plug there. Just go check that out. Links in the description below. But we're not getting the numbers yet. And this is coming from two businesses that have been set up that have been very well. And we know that the first couple of days are slow burns. But we're releasing daily content because we're like, something will go, something will bite, something
and
will
mind you, by the time this episode comes, because obviously we record episodes in advance a lot, right?
Correct.
Because of the schedules. By the time this comes out, we might even have like a certain following.
An okay following.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers
crossed. Brand sponsorships. What? But I think it's very similar to that, because like when you're a new brand on Instagram and you're posting content, and the content, let's just say, is good. Let's say your content is actually fucking good. Like we said, you can be a great content creator, good photographer, you're just a shit marketer, but the reach isn't there. This is where sponsored ads comes. And literally the first thing Instagram does is ask you, do you want to sponsor your ads or all that? Because they want to obviously make money.
Yeah,
it's
of course.
Platform. You're using that for free
just a business. Yeah.
And they recognize the reach and value in doing that. So the con is, to that point, like if you don't have a large following, you might have to resort to sponsored ads.
Definitely tell you, like when I didn't have the following that I do now, and obviously like I don't have like crazy following. People out there who have got like 50,000, 100,000, whatever. Yeah. But even when I didn't have what I have now, bro, I was running Instagram ads all the time, like specific, like in my area, like wherever, like and
would that help? Did you say that would that help?
Definitely help. Definitely, I got a lot of leads because of that. But I mean, my wallet wasn't happy, right? Like you just look every month,
Facebook ads,
Facebook ads, all the other bank statements. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's So maybe it's like if you're, there's tiers to this. If you're not even doing any pieces of content, you're fucked. At least do some pieces of content, but then bank on hopefully one part of that's going to get a bit of attention. But there's a lag effect on this. You might be running ads, you might be like putting out content. Your first lead's not going to come through until after that. Like it's a bit slow. So when you have a bit of a,
I think trust the process.
You got to trust the process. Yeah. But when you have a bit of a following, it just means that your pressure on these systems and processes isn't that high. Because when you're new and you don't have anything, you're relying all on it, right? Because you want to obviously, grow and be successful. But when you have a bit of a following, you're not putting too much pressure on that, because you go, organically, I've built the business to a certain spot, unless you bought leads, unless you bought numbers and all of that shit, still triggered. But you don't have to go, well, I'm buying numbers and followers for the sake of it, and now I've made it or whatever. You can go, well, organically, I've already gotten there.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting part where I think a lot of people often get very, very like caught up about. Numbers aren't the be all and end all, but if you think you can undervalue them, I'd say think again, because they do help with conversion, whether you like to agree with it or not.
So in conclusion, what like the numbers do matter.
So okay, so if so answering
do
your
Instagram
question,
follow,
if you're asking me, I would say yes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to caveat by saying, if you think hitting a particular number is the answer, look, not really, no, but just know that like having an audience, enables opportunities.
And creating and going through the journey of getting all these followers is so much more fun than just having them at the end, right? Because if you don't even enjoy what you're doing, what's the point of you going to have like, whatever, like it comes back to the point I think we talked about in the last podcast is, are you doing this for money or are you doing this because you like photography, right?
Yeah, ultimately, look,
there's always going to be a burnout at the end of the day if you're not enjoying what you're doing.
I think, you know, don't do this for the sake of being fucking famous. I mean, fame comes as a byproduct of doing something you love and having an audience recognize you. You've been there. I've been there with our content.
I mean, I don't think I'm famous.
I mean, no. As in like, hey, you're Manav, right? From Backdrop? Oh, you're so good.
No. I would like, I mean, you can probably talk on this than me, but not to that
celebrity. Like, fucking. It's like, yes, people recognize who you are, and it's a byproduct of doing the same shit over a period of years. That's cool and all. But if you're say becoming a wedding photographer for the likes and followers, bro, you gotta get your priorities in check. Yeah, to me,
there's much better things out there to become than a wedding photographer if you want followers, right?
Start an OnlyFans, man. But let us know.
We'll probably pay much better as well.
Yeah. You might not have to hustle as hard. Let us know in the comment section below. Do you like what we have to say? Do you not like what we have to say?
We do a lot of shit talk, so I'm probably like, there's a lot of things that people
I
don't
hope I
agree
triggered
on.
some people. I'm actually low-key hoping I triggered some people because I reckon someone's looking at us going, "Oh, you guys are privileged
motherfuckers." Are you guys talking
about? How dare you guys say all of this shit when you guys?
What the fuck are you guys talking about with the 50,000 Instagram followers?
Yeah. I can guarantee you, someone's going, "Look at these privileged plebs, fucking like saying this shit from the high horse." But it wasn't.
Low horse. It could be someone that's 100K, 200K watching us, be like, what the fuck are these guys talking about?
I mean, I think when I started, I used to celebrate the small wins. I remember when I hit my first 1,000 followers, I was like, they see me rolling.
You know what I remember? You know what I remember doing back in the day?
Giveaways?
No. When I hit 1,000 followers, you'd put up on your story, "Oh, thank you so much for the 1,000.
Thank you so much for the 1,000 followers." Yeah. Bro, I was an idiot. I was an idiot. I'd be like 100 followers, 500 followers, 1,000 followers, 1,500.
Thank you so much for following.
Yeah, every single time.
Love you, everyone.
Love you so much. Thanking you for all your support, man. I used to remember doing that shit for literally every round digit number. And I get it because you're excited. You're excited. Yeah. And there are still businesses today
who
are older than us and more mature than us.
There's nothing wrong with it, by the way.
By the way, Look, I'm all for celebrating your wins. Yeah. Like, there are a few clothing brands and hair and makeup artists who have literally hit a number in the last couple of weeks and months that I'm like, oh, I recognize that. Good on you. Kudos to you because you started at a certain point. Yeah. Now you're at this point, and that requires a level of like, celebration. Yeah. But don't. I think this is literally the key point. I'm going to get very serious with this. Don't overvalue nor undervalue the power of having a certain following count, to the extent where it's not the be all and end all. You recognize the opportunity for what it brings, but you're not banking on it solely as the primary reason that you are successful. So that was fucking genius. I hope.
It's pretty shit. I think I zoned out.
That was good, man. I thought well for that one. Fair. But we should probably end this now. I think
we're like just like talking shit now. Yeah,
we've gone on. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, which I don't think we've said this before, rate it 5 stars. I'd love to get more ratings on this podcast. Yeah. So if you're on Spotify,
we're begging for stars now. Begging for ratings.
Go buy more stars. I want to go buy more like 5-star reviews. If you guys liked this episode, rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on whatever fucking platform we've somehow spread ourselves to.
I mean, that's just 2 of them. I think
YouTube,
we'll probably,
right? Okay, and then YouTube.
By the time this comes out, hopefully we're on Apple, because this guy still hasn't got us on Apple. Hopefully by the time this comes out, it's on Apple. But
But wherever you are in the world, listening to whatever platform, rate us 5 stars. We won't buy it. We would organically do it. Yeah.
If you want to rate it 1 star, you can rate it 2, but we'll keep it there. We won't delete it.
Well, we can't delete it.
Oh yeah, true.
It's a review.
Oh yeah, I don't rate it 1 star.
5 stars for these 5 stars. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.